Many times on this channel, other channels, Coach Greg Adams, Red Pill Men's Health, Better Bachelor, we try to tell you, especially, every man, but especially you young guys are still thinking with the wrong part of your anatomy, that you got to start watching what you're doing here. You can be accused of you-know-what decades after. No evidence required. File charges, you lose your job, etc., so on. Even if it was completely with everyone's consent. You see, that's the issue we're dealing with. Everything was fine. 15 years later, she decides, no, it was not fine. It was, the score. We have another victim of the PoundMe craziness that happened a few years ago. This is in People. Everything we know about the Grapefruit allegations against Danny Masterson. The former That 70s Show star has been charged with grapefruiting 3 women and denies all the allegations. So there's a lot here. I'm going to try to be succinct and to the point and try to get this information out to you. You can read the story, which will be linked below. Over 3 years ago, after news broke that SA allegations against Danny Masterson were under investigation, the actor has been formally charged. On Wednesday, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced that the former That 70s Show star, who is 44, was charged with forcibly grapefruiting 3 women in separate incidents occurring between 2001 and 2003. The dates will become important, gentlemen, so please pay attention. In a statement, Masterson, of course, denies the allegations, obviously. So let's quickly run through the timeline. March 2017, LAPD confirms investigation into SA allegations against Masterson. 3 women have come forward and disclosed that they were SA'd by Masterson during the early 2000s. Notice they're using SA and grapefruit interchangeably here. Common tactic these days. Because they want you to believe that all SA is grapefruit, when in fact, grapefruit is one of the many, many SAs that a person can be charged with. One woman alleged Masterson had S with her without her consent while she was asleep. And according to a second woman's report, Masterson allegedly SA'd the victim while she was passed out. In a statement to People at the time, Masterson's rep refuted the claims. The rep said one of the incidents occurred when the actor was in a 6-year relationship with the alleged victim. November 2017, a 4th accuser is reported. The LAPD began interviewing accusers in late 2016. Well, that's interesting. How is that when it was first reported in 2017? Okay, whatever, right? So the report said the investigation had stalled, and despite compelling and overwhelming evidence, the charges were not filed. November 2017, another woman comes forward. She told the Daily Beast at the time that she could no longer be silent, adding the only way to protect ourselves is to speak. And there's a nice statement from her saying, well, people shouldn't be silent because, they're choosing to stay silent and helping this evil bastard, yet she was silent for 14 years. Okay. December 2017, Netflix fires Masterson. And they also fired another dude. Collateral damage. December 2017, another actress comes forward. She dated Masterson in the early 2000s, joining this other woman and coming forward. I stayed quiet long enough. Danny Masterson repeatedly grapefruited me. All I seek is justice and to prevent this from ever happening to anyone else, as it has for some time. My truth will be heard. Interesting, she had a different frame of mind apparently when it actually happened. And she could have prevented it from happening to other women if she would have reported it. And a bunch of hashtags. January 2018, UTA, United Talent Agency, cut ties with the actor. He'd worked with them for more than 20 years. So what do we have so far? Well, we have allegations, unproven assertions, no charges filed. He loses his television job and his agency on the basis of allegations. August 2019, 4 accusers sue Masterson and their particular religion, etc., and so on. They claim that, you can read it. I don't want to. I don't want to talk about their particular religion. You can read the words here. June 2020, official charges are filed against Masterson. Yesterday, Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced that Masterson had been charged with 3 counts of grapefruit by force or fear. Prosecutors allege that Masterson grapefruited a 23-year-old woman sometime in 2001, a 28-year-old woman in April 2003, and a 23-year-old woman between October and December 2003. All the alleged crimes occurred at his home. If found guilty, Masterson could face a possible maximum sentence of 45 years to life. In prison, he was arrested, he bailed out. Let's go back to this paragraph. Let's contemplate this just for a minute. Prosecutors allege that Masterson grapefruited a 23-year-old woman sometime in 2001. No more specific than that. 2001 was a big year. We had 9/11. We had a lot of different things going on. George Bush became president. Well, it happened around the time Bush was inaugurated, or it happened sometime during the entire year. The 28-year-old says April 2003. Sounds legit. Okay, it happened sometime in April. All right, yeah, it was fair. And a 23-year-old woman between October and December 2003, 90 days. The holiday time of the year. Couldn't we get a little more specific? Well, it was around Halloween. It's around Thanksgiving, around Christmas. No. So what's also interesting about this whole thing? Well, in California, there is something called a statute of limitations. The laws were changed in January of 2017, but this was all before that. So it says here, existing law generally requires that the prosecution of a felony S offense be commenced within 10 years after the commission of the offense. Well, that would mean he'd have to be charged with something by 2013 at the very latest under the old system in California. And yet here we are 19 years after the first allegations. That would be almost a decade longer than the statute of limitations at the time. So the question might be, how is he being charged with this? Statute of limitations ran out. So my advice to you, young men, you've got to be extremely careful. You can't just go around and bang a bunch of women and expect that at some point in your future, especially with the current environment that we are living in, that something is not going to come up. Imagine over 13 years, for example. Do you think the story in her mind may have changed a little bit? Do you think the Pound Me came up and she recalled something that may have happened in 2001 in a very different light than what actually did happen? Remember, once you're accused, you're guilty. Way before you're proven guilty in a court of law, you're guilty in the court of public opinion. And in the case of this man who is accused of these crimes, he lost his job, he lost his agency, and now he lost some time in jail and put up $3.3 million in bail. Now he's going to lose a lot of time being on trial, and he should be on trial if he's accused of these things and there's evidence. And since the statute of limitations ran out, he shouldn't be charged. The hell with that. Laws don't apply to us. We're women. Guys, be careful. James Maxwell, thank you for listening.